Welcome to another episode of the Lonely Catchup. I'm joined today by Dorian Ogunro. How are you doing today, mate?
Yeah, good. After a bit of a wet session, but yeah, good.
Dried off a little bit. So, yeah, first and foremost, thanks for sitting down and chatting to us today. The Edinburgh Uni side is definitely an interesting side within the league. It's got a lot of its own challenges that other sides don't, and it's an interesting one to see week in, week out, and it's definitely good to have an opportunity to speak to you. So I suppose, just to kick it off, how do you find it playing in the Lowland League week in, week out?
Well, I really enjoy it. It's a great challenge. Obviously, it's got harder and harder over the years since we joined in 2014-15. I think it was our first season. It's just got harder and harder and harder. But it's brilliant. You want the players especially to be able to play at the highest level that they can. So it provides that. Clearly, it's a challenge for us. Obviously, our position in the league shows that this season. But it's a challenge we embrace, and we're always trying to get better, so there's no better place to be for as long as we can be at this level.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you're right that the league's going to keep going from strength to strength, especially with the introduction of so many new teams applying to the East of Scotland and potentially the West of Scotland eventually. When you first came into the league, like you've been with Edinburgh Uni since 2012, a couple of years later you joined the Lowland League. You didn't join it in its inception though. What was the reason behind that?
The reason behind that was that we didn't feel that we had the right infrastructure to do so. Obviously, with the Lowland League inception, we knew that there was going to be promotion involved, so we knew that the standard of the league was going to improve from an East of Scotland league that was already very good, but obviously had a ceiling to it. New players coming into the league and new teams coming into the league, we didn't feel that we were ready to compete at a level to sustain ourselves in the league at that point. So we worked hard behind the scenes. We needed the Uni's assistance obviously to help get East Peffermill up to scratch, which they were fantastic with. And then on the field as well, we had to manoeuvre things to get players ready, to get the right players at the right time to be able to, like I say, sustain ourselves in the league. So yeah. I think, well, we definitely made the right decision. I don't think we were ready, albeit I don't think there was promotion or relegation the first year or two. I could be wrong, but I just don't think as a club we were ready for the challenge at that point.
And that, I suppose, that decision ended up paying off because you had quite a bit of success around that 2014 in the King Cup in particular.
Yeah, 2014 was our last season in East of Scotland. Obviously we won the King Cup, didn't lose a goal in the competition, played some really good teams. We played Hibs at the time, were East of Scotland. We played them away, beat them 1-0. We beat Edinburgh City away 1-0 at Meadowbank. That's the season before they won the Lowland League as well, I think. And then beat Whitehill in the final. So it was great for the club. We've not won many of the big trophies in Saturday football very often, so I think it's it's seven or eight that we've won in our 140-year history. So it was a great moment for the boys involved.
And before we discuss the Lowland League anymore, you say about Saturday football, you obviously compete in the Bucks as well. I was speaking to Paddy and Luke there about playing in the Bucks. Obviously Luke doesn't anymore, but Paddy's still playing in that. How do you find coaching the team on a Wednesday versus a Saturday?
Well, obviously the standard's different, but probably the best thing is that it gives us a different look at the game. Obviously Saturday football is challenging physically and mentally. Wednesday football is less challenging because we are one of the better teams, but it's a different type of challenge because we have to adjust from not being one of the strongest teams on a Saturday to being one of the better teams on a Wednesday. So it's an adjustment in mentality. So it's actually quite important for the team's development, and it's probably what gives us, despite the knockbacks we've had on a Saturday repeatedly, our success on a Wednesday has kept the spirits up and kept us going. So it doesn't matter what's happened the week before. Every Saturday the boys they've been so resilient mentally. I've been really proud of that. They keep coming back and you wouldn't know that they were in the position that they're in if you were just to look at them. There's no negativity. They're very together as a group. The psychology of the team is actually very good. Obviously there's details we have to iron out in terms of performances and results, but there's a lot of good parts to it, and I think Wednesdays helps with that.
Oh, that's good. And we obviously spoke about that Saturday. It's a team. You've the team out there on a Saturday. It's a bit more challenging. One of the areas that you have struggled with this season is finding those goals. What do you think's been the issue this season?
Well, we had one main striker for part of it. Abdul again does very well for us, but outside of him, we didn't have enough experience or quality up front. And to be honest, to be blunt, we just haven't been good enough in front of goal. I would say 65-70% of our games we create 2 or 3 really good goal scoring opportunities, and we don't take them. And that's come from a lot of our attacking players have to share the blame, if you want to call it that, for that. I just don't think we've been good enough in front of goal, unfortunately.
What about, obviously he's played against East Kilbride, who are by no means are not a pushover. They should be another team that are going to be a challenge for Edinburgh Uni. He's managed to come back twice from being down against East Kilbride, and he's got a point in that game. What was the difference in that game?
To be honest, I don't think there was a difference. I think the main thing is that we actually, in the first half, we had 3 or 4 gilt-edged chances. We didn't even hit the target. As they're a top team, as soon as they got their first chance, bang, it was a goal. So we were 1-0 down. We talked to them about that at half time, and we came out and we equalised. They scored again, and then we equalised again. And I think it's just one of those. We have enough ability that if we're switched on mentally and physically, we can compete with a lot of teams in the league. But if we're not switched on, then that 1 mental or 2 mental errors cost us the game. Unfortunately, on Saturday we got the mental side of the game right, and we kept ourselves in the game, and we're fortunate enough to pick up a point. East Kilbride were very good second half, but we defended well and we kept solid, and we took our chances when they came. So I think it was hard work, but we earned that one, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that gives you something to build on as well, which is really good to see. When you look at the games that you have played this season, your goals against would suggest that there's been a lot of goals against you, but when you actually go and look down the results, you're actually a team that can be very frustrating to play against, and a side that don't concede goals. You've had a couple of tough fixtures in there, which have kind of given the illusion that you get scored against quite a lot, but at the back you are pretty solid, and you seem like for the most part it's quite mentally tough there. But
I think, to be honest, we concede too many goals, otherwise we wouldn't be down in the area we're in, so we have to be honest about that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's a case of we're getting battered in games and we're not performing for the whole game. I think for a fair proportion of our games we've competed really well with the opposition, but all it takes is 2 10-second lapses and then you get punished, and that's 2 goals down, and that can almost not falsify because they deserve it if they score, but that can almost give a different look to the game when people see that you lose 2-1 or you lose 3-1. They don't see that for 89 minutes or 88 minutes or 87 minutes that you've actually performed quite well. The result is what matters in the end, irrespective of the performance, and I think that's part of the experience bit that we have to get better at, is converting good performances into results, whether it be draws or wins. That's been our challenge all season.
That East Kilbride draw that we just spoke about as well, that put a little bit of buffer between yourselves and Vale that might give you that, another season in the Lowland League that you're kind of looking to maintain going forward. You've got a big game coming up against Dalbeattie towards the end of the season. Do you guys look at that game differently to the other games, or are you taking one game at a time?
Don't look at any game differently. I think, again, the Lowland League shows you we've got a lot of good teams in it, but everybody can remain competitive on the day, and I think it would be naive of me to basically focus on one game. We've got 5 games left. Mm-hmm. We have to try, albeit very challenging games, we have to try and get something out of every game we play in, so that's the way we approach it. When Dalbeattie comes around, we'll be prepared to manage that, hopefully having picked up something prior to that, but I don't think you can afford to target specific games and write off other games at all. I think otherwise you're not going to have a consistency of performance. You try to develop a consistent level of performance so that you can get hopefully a consistent level of results. So we have to approach the Celtic game as hard as it will be. the same way as that we'll approach the Dalbeattie game eventually, whenever that comes across us, basically.
And what I suppose one of the interesting things with you guys being a uni side is you sometimes have to approach the way you build your squad a bit differently to other teams in the league. What kind of challenges do you find at the uni side that you perhaps wouldn't see in others?
I think the biggest challenge is that we can't recruit as effectively as other teams. If other teams need a player at left back, then they can look for players at left back, and if there's somebody available that suits them, they can sign them. With us, obviously, we've got our own rules, so we're allowed to play students, or we have a small number of graduates we're allowed to play as well. So that means that while we've got a big potential pool in terms of the amount of students that go to Edinburgh University, and not all of them are capable of playing low and league level, and some that are already playing for other teams. So the recruitment is the hardest part, is that you're often building teams with younger players, and when they're reaching the maturity and an ability to play at the level that you need, then you move on and you start doing it again, which is a challenge that I enjoy, to be honest, because you're constantly developing players, you're constantly learning yourself, so it's a constant challenge, and it doesn't get stale because you're constantly rebuilding, but it does make the challenge against obviously other teams in the league harder, because like I say, they can sign players as available as such, so it does make it a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, and like you said there, they're reaching the maturity, and that's usually when they're maybe finishing up at uni and moving on. Sometimes it will be to other Lowland League sides or potentially higher. In your about 8 seasons coaching at Edinburgh Uni, what are some of the standout players that you look back to that you were particularly proud of their time at Edinburgh Uni?
All of them, to be honest. I mean, some of them are still with me. Luke Murray was with me at under 20s. He played for me under 20s, came at the first team as an undergrad, then left and he's come back. Finn Daniels, Yeomans, has been a fantastic player for the club. Mark Tate, again, former goalkeeper, has been excellent for us. Mark Waters, the last couple of seasons, has been an absolute standout. And we've got a lot of the younger players like Paddy, like Abdul, Ross Waters, and there's more. Alex Hamilton's coming this year, so's Matthew Dick coming, and they've acquitted themselves very well at a young age, 18, 19 years old, having not played at this standard before. So there's lots of players who come into the club and they've clearly got ability and they push themselves to improve, so it's really good.
No, that's good. I suppose one of the good things to close up on would be the upcoming game you're playing against Kelty the weekend. Last time round it finished 7-1, but you guys you kicked on pretty early with really good goal. Are you taking any learns away from that result that you are hoping to apply Saturday coming?
Last time we played them, the result was fair because we were awful. They were good and we were awful, and it wasn't actually really football that we were awful in. It was really poor mental errors, turning our back on the ball and switching off at set pieces, and things that I think most managers would say are elementary as a starting point before you start to perform whatever tactics or way of playing that you're going to employ. So we did start very well that game, scored a fantastic goal, a well worked goal, and then proceeded to switch off for the rest of the game. And you switch off against a team of Kelty with the quality players that they have, you get punished, and that's exactly what happened. So bare minimum, I'm hoping that we can at least perform in a manner that we're capable of and make a game of it. Kelty are a good side and we've got no reason to expect to win, but at the same time we've shown in the past that if we can get the details right, Kelty have an off day, if we can get the mental parts of our game right, then we might be able to nick something. You never know. Absolutely.
I think if I remember correctly, you took a point against Kelty last season where they had a really good season as well, so on the day can absolutely happen. So you think that switching off and the mental errors, is that sort of what you've been working on leading up to this game?
That's what we've been working on all season. That's why we're in the position we're in. Again, to be honest, it's not been a lack of quality that's put us in this position. It's been a lack of consistency and experience. That's cost us. We've got good enough players to play in the own league, but unfortunately we've made consistent mental errors that have punished us. Like I say, there's been plenty of performances, there's been plenty of times, and we've been winning games that we ended up drawing or losing just because of that. Again, meant 5 seconds, switch off, punish, it's a goal. And it's something that we have to learn from. And to be fair, there's no better place to learn it than under pressure against Kelty on Saturday. There's no hiding place in these games. But in a way, I don't believe in it's a free hit. I don't believe in that. That's rubbish. Every game is there to be won. At least both teams have to try to win. It's going to be challenged, but we have to try to win. So it's not a free hit by any means, but mentally it should be that bit easier for us simply because there'll be no pressure on us. That's a fact. Nobody's expecting us to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're talking about that opportunity and the fact that you're going after that, if the players are going out with that attitude, then I think they've absolutely got every chance. Okay, thanks for speaking to us today, and good luck on Saturday and for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much.